What kind of man spends his final days plotting executions, rewriting his will, and nursing the legacy of both a tyrant and a builder? Herod the Great's death was as chaotic and ruthless as his life, and his successors inherited a kingdom ready to explode. But who were these heirs, and could they ever escape the shadow of their father's rule? Was their failure inevitable, or could one of them have risen above the chaos to secure a lasting peace? Herod's death in 4 BC was no ordinary passing. He did not fade quietly into history. He clawed, schemed, and manipulated until his final breath. Josephus, the ancient historian, describes Herod's agonizing demise with stomach-turning precision. He was afflicted with a fever, a foul ulcer, an unbearable itching, constant pain in his colon, swelling in his feet and abdomen, and gangrene of the genitals, breeding worms. Imagine the once mighty king reduced to a shell of himself, his body rotting from within, even as his mind raced to maintain control over a fracturing legacy. Herod's paranoia did not die with him. Knowing his reputation, he feared his death would bring about celebration rather than mourning. To prevent this, he devised one final act of cruelty. He ordered that all the prominent Jewish leaders be arrested and executed at the moment of his death to ensure that the city wept and mourned, not rejoiced. Although this order was never carried out, it serves as a chilling reminder of the lengths Herod would go in his desperate quest for power and respect. Even in his death, Herod's ambitions ignited a powder keg. His kingdom, a vast yet fragile patchwork of cultures and religions, was divided in his will among his 3 surviving sons, Archelaus, Antipas, and Philip. But the ink on Herod's will was barely dry before the chaos erupted. What drove Herod to such extremes? Was it a desperate attempt to maintain control, or the paranoia of a tyrant who could trust no one, not even his own flesh and blood? Herod's will granted Archelaus control over Judea, Samaria, and Idumea. Antipas ruled Galilee and Perea, and Philip took the northeastern territories encompassing parts of modern-day Syria, Jordan, and Lebanon. Yet the division of power was far from peaceful. Could 3 brothers raised in the shadow of their father's ruthlessness truly trust one another? Or was this kingdom doomed to be torn apart by ambition and betrayal? The rivalry began even before Herod's burial. Archelaus, the favored heir, faced immediate challenges to his authority. A delegation of Jews and Samaritans accused him of tyranny before his reign even began, petitioning Rome to prevent him from ruling. His brother Antipas, meanwhile, sought to overturn the will and claim Judea for himself. The stage was set for a battle of words and wits at the highest levels of power, the imperial court of Augustus in Rome. In Rome, Augustus found himself in a delicate position. Herod's kingdom was strategically valuable but deeply unstable. Archelaus and Antipas both presented their cases, while Jewish and Samaritan delegations argued for direct Roman oversight. Augustus, the consummate pragmatist, confirmed Herod's will, but demoted Archelaus from king to ethnarch, a title denoting a ruler of a specific ethnic group or territory, signaling Rome's lack of confidence in his abilities. Back in Judea, Archelaus' reign began not with celebration, but with rebellion. During the Passover, following Herod's death, unrest flared in Jerusalem as thousands gathered to demand justice for Herod's victims. Archelaus responded with brutal force. Josephus recounts the massacre. Archelaus sent his entire army upon them. They fell upon them, killed about 3,000 men, and caused the rest to run away. This act of savagery temporarily quelled dissent, but left a scar on the region. Archelaus' heavy-handed rule alienated both his subjects and Rome. Within a decade, Augustus had seen enough. Archelaus was stripped of his title and exiled to Gaul, modern-day France, while Judea was placed under direct Roman administration. This marked a turning point, as Roman prefects, including Pontius Pilate, would oversee the region in the years to come, leading even to the crucifixion of Jesus. Was Archelaus' downfall inevitable? Could he have ruled differently, or was his father's legacy too heavy a burden for him to bear? Now, while Archelaus faltered, his brother Antipas covered out a longer, more infamous career in Galilee. Known for his cunning and ambition, Antipas sought to solidify his legacy through grand projects. He founded the city of Tiberias on the western shore of the Sea of Galilee, transforming it into a gleaming tribute to Roman power. Yet beneath the surface, his reign was riddled with controversy. After John the Baptist publicly criticized his marriage to Herodias, his brother's former wife, a union considered scandalous and unlawful by Jewish law, Antipas ordered his execution, solidifying his reputation for ruthlessness. Later, he played a role in the trial of Jesus of Nazareth, mocking him and sending him back to Pontius Pilate. Antipas's ambition ultimately led to his undoing. He sought the title of king, aligning himself with Caligula's rival in Rome. This misstep earned him exile to Spain, where he died in obscurity. Unlike his brothers, Philip did not rule with scandal or brutality, but his quiet reign was no less significant. Governing the northeastern territories, modern-day parts of Syria, Jordan, and Lebanon, Philip embraced a diplomatic and administrative approach. His most enduring achievement was the founding of Caesarea Philippi, named to honor Emperor Augustus and distinguish it from the larger Caesarea Maritima built by his father. Nestled near the base of Mount Hermon, the city blended Roman and Hellenistic culture with temples, marketplaces, and an aqueduct that brought water from the nearby springs of Banias. Philip's rule was marked by a rare balance of respect for local customs and loyalty to Rome. He maintained peace by forging alliances with neighboring tribes, a skill his father had often wielded as a weapon, but which Philip used to build stability. Unlike Archelaus and Antipas, who were plagued by uprisings and exile, Philip ruled without major rebellion, a testament to his administrative competence. Yet, Philip was not without his own ambition. Some accounts suggest he introduced a coinage bearing his own image, a bold move that signaled both loyalty to Rome and a desire to assert his own authority. By the time of his death in 34 AD, Philip had achieved what his brothers could not, a reign of peace and prosperity that left his territory stronger than he had found it. The death of Herod the Great and the division of his kingdom were not just family drama. They were the prelude to a much larger collapse. Archelaus' failure led to direct Roman rule, which exacerbated tensions in Judea. These tensions erupted in the Jewish-Roman Wars, culminating in the destruction of the Second Temple in 70 AD, foretold by the Jewish prophet Daniel and even Jesus of Nazareth. Herod's sons inherited his ambition, but lacked his ability to unite a fractured land. 3 brothers, 3 kingdoms, and 3 very different paths. But how did their choices shape not just their own fates, but the fate of Judea itself? And could any of them truly escape the shadow of their father's legacy? The answers lie ahead in their stories of ambition, betrayal, and survival. What does Herod's story teach us today? It's a reminder that power built on fear and cruelty rarely outlives the one who wields it. But what about those who inherited his fractured legacy? Could any of his sons rise above the chaos, or were they doomed to repeat the mistakes of their father? In the next part of our series on the Herodian dynasty, we'll dive deeper into the life of Archelaus, the heir who ruled Judea with an iron fist, and whose short reign left scars that would change and shape the region for decades. How did his decisions lead to his downfall? And what lessons can we learn from his tragic story? Now, I want to hear from you. What do you think was Herod's greatest flaw in all of this? His paranoia, his ambition, or his brutal pragmatism? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video, subscribe to War and Wisdom in History, and hit that notification bell so you're ready for the next chapter of this fascinating saga. Stay curious, seek wisdom, and we'll see you in the next chapter of history.